It's Jake Kim from the Oregon Surf Perch Fishing Club. It's Monday, April 14th at 9 a.m. I'm back here at Wade Creek, and it's a really lovely day. Man, I got really lucky today. But swell energy is about 225, 230. It's about 50 degrees, sunshine, blue skies. There's no wind. It is low. It was low tide at 7:25. It was a minus 0.2. High tide, I want to say, is like 12:30, but I totally forget. But anyway, it's about a 5.5 or 5.2 high tide. So it's about a 5.5 foot swing today from low to high. It's about a 1 foot tidal height right now. So actually, that's why I wanted to come to Wade at low tide again, is because last time I was here, it was pretty rocky at the top and the bottom. The top's not as rocky as it used to be. And I was only here last week, but the bottom of the beach is still rocky. So at low tide, you're below the rocks, so you're not going to get all those snags. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to come at low tide, as well as a couple people had some decent success here at low tide last week. I'm just looking for a place to cross. So I don't usually time my trips around low tide. Today just happened to be optimal timing for when I usually come out fishing, which is usually 9 a.m. It's really pleasant out here. I'm so lucky to be living on the Oregon coast. This is kind of a wake up in the morning, look out the window, see how the weather is, see how my body feels, and then this was kind of a last minute decision. Okay, I see some really nice crashing waves up there. So I have moderate expectations today, based on the last time I was here and the club reports. But surf conditions look really good here, especially for energy only being like 230. So I don't know if you see it, but here's all the rocks I was talking about last time I was here. And then just past that is a little bit sandy beach, but there's a trough there. So if you're trying to fish in that area at high tide or higher tides, there's not going to be any fish. But anyway, that's why it's just interesting to come at low tide so you can see the beach structure. Okay, I'm going to try right here. Crashing waves look pretty good. So catching conditions are really awesome here because there's a lot of deep green crashing waves, and they're crashing one after another. I keep expecting to get a bite right away, but so far this is my second cast, no action. Absolutely awesome day. I'm standing up to my knees in water, and I haven't had to get out of the water at all or move back much. So energy is generally not this low with big crashing waves in front of you. So I'm puzzled as to why I'm not getting action, but man, conditions are really prime right now with the weather and the low energy swell, as well as the crashing waves. You couldn't ask for a better set of conditions. One of the things you got to be careful about as incoming high tide is that I'm kind of on a sandbar here, and there's a big trough. So as incoming high tide comes in, you can't retreat that way. There's another, the water's pretty deep amongst the rocks, but then you got to backtrack to the shallow area. So as incoming tide comes in, always make sure you got an escape route. I've been stranded before and it's not fun. So I've only been here like 15 minutes and already the water's starting to cover the rocks. So you just got to keep your eye out when it's incoming high tide. But the water's rising pretty quickly now. Okay, so I've been here half an hour now and I've had zero action. I mean, I look at the waves and I'm going, man, I can't believe I'm not at least getting one bite. But wave conditions are super awesome right where I was fishing. So I'm going to bypass all these rocks. I'm going to try going a little bit further to the north, you know, where the houses are. And the waves over there look okay. But man, I can't believe I didn't get a bite here. All right, it's going to be about a 5-10 minute walk. Last week I was here, it was interesting because the rocks up there were all there, but if you look at my video from last week, this was all sand, and then you had all these rocks. But now even the middle's got a bunch of rocks. So I mean, this whole area, I mean, it's a little bit better down there, especially closer to the creek, but I mean, look at all these rocks here that you'd be casting into and then dragging your line through, you know, at higher tides. So this is the reason why I wanted to come at low tide, to avoid all this stuff. So as you're looking to get down to the water, make sure you're very careful about where the rocks are when you step. Some of them are slippery and some of them have potholes. So Now I'm just trying to get to the waves out there, but man, it looks pretty good. I'm trying not to have to walk all the way around and come back. So I'm gonna try cutting through the rocks. Okay, it's actually pretty easy because of all the sand in between the rocks. So I'm not actually walking on the rocks. So when the waves come in, let it go back. That way you can see where you're walking before you start walking. Now that I'm in the water, oh man, it's a lot more shallow here, and the waves aren't near as high, and there's not as many crashing ones, and they're even harder to reach. They're much harder to reach. The other thing is that it feels like the beach is slightly sloped differently here, because the water's coming in fast, and the backwater is much faster than where I just was. So when I moved way north compared to where I was down there, as you can see how flat it is, and the waves are much smaller, and it's really far to get out to the big breaking waves. You know, so that's just the way conditions change as you go along the beach. So I'm gonna go back to my original spot and just hope that incoming high tide brings the fish in. But if I don't get any action here soon, I'm gonna quit. So what kind of concerns me is all these rocks here on the north side, because I'm supposed to be holding a workshop here in May 10th. And man, I'd hate to bring people to all this stuff here. So even if we come to Wade, it looks like we might have to go south or go way, way north. But I didn't see any good crashing waves on the north, and I haven't been south in a while. So, you know, we'll just have to roll the dice and go south when I bring the workshop, unless this all gets covered up. Okay, so here's a lesson in trying to read beach structure and waves. So you can see all these rocks here, and then it gets pretty dark green, and there's crashing waves out there. So that dark green spot where the waves die out is a trough. And if you follow the trough from right to left, it goes all the way down to right about where that big rock is. But if you look on the other side of the trough, you can see that there's a shallow area. So that's a sandbar out there. So that was the sandbar I was on, but you got to go walk all the way around to get to the sandbar. So anyway, that's just what you look for as you're walking through the beach. But you know, don't try and walk through deep blue areas like this, because you'll be surprised how deep it is sometimes. Just a quick lesson. Okay, so it's been only about 50 minutes since I've been here, and with tide coming up, the place where I was fishing is now cut off because the water level has risen. So I'm a little bit further than I was before from the crashing waves. So I'd like to be over there, but that's where I was fishing before, but it's kind of inaccessible now. Again, that's just how the beach changes as you continue to fish. All right, if I don't get something here in the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna call it quits. So conditions are actually improving as I continue to fish here. The waves are getting bigger, and they're getting closer, and it's getting deeper. But I'm about ready to call it here anyway. But man, it's looking a lot better all of a sudden. I surrender. So I've been here an hour and 10 minutes, and I wasted 15 minutes of it walking from back and forth to the far north, you know, where the houses were, trying to skip all those rocks. So that's the reason why I stayed a little bit longer. Normally I don't stay past an hour with no action, but man, I can't believe I didn't get any action today. The waves were really awesome, but at least it was a gorgeous day. Conditions were totally awesome. I haven't fished in one of these kind of days probably since last fall. So anyway, very disappointing day for me, and that's 2 trips in a row now with zero action. I went to Curtis Street last Friday with Tong and Nick, had zero action, and zero action today. So that's not very good.